I think that being a modern day shepherd helps me understand the Savior better. We do have the responsibility to make sure our sheep have what they need, and we are lucky to have pasture 6 months out of the year, but the other 6 months the Bermuda grass, it has gone dormant, and we must feed the sheep hay. And so we make sure that they have everything that they need. They always have minerals and water, always, and plenty of hay and pasture. I grew up on a commercial ranching operation, and we had herds of sheep. In 1 Nephi 22:25, it says that Christ numbereth his sheep, and they know him. I do believe that my sheep know me, and I definitely know them. We have numbered them all according to what year they were born, what number of lamb that was born that year. In Matthew 25:32, it talks about dividing the sheep from the goats. And it makes perfect sense to me because there is such a huge difference. Anyone who has been around both sheep and goats understand that sheep are a lot more peaceful. They are followers. They just kind of do what they're supposed to do most of the time. They won't go off on their own very often. There are different personalities, of course. Each animal has their own personality. I believe the Savior wants us to be humble. And when you look at a goat, I think almost every goat I've ever seen, you look at its face and it has an arrogance. They just have that look in their eye like, I am in charge and don't you tell me what to do. Where sheep just, I think their overall personalities just seem more humble and teachable. They just follow and do what they're supposed to do. We work all year hard together as a family with our flock, feeding 365 days a year, caring for the sick, and it all comes down to the payoff, which is the livestock show. Our kids are able to go to the Clark County Fair, which is here in Logandale the second weekend in April every year. And they are able to, they choose one of the animals from our flock that's a lamb. They need to be under a year old to show. They pick one out in October, and they work with it and prepare it for the show from October until April. There are so many things that we do a couple weeks before to prepare for the show so that our lambs can be their best. And one of the things is we shear them. After we shear them, we have to be sure and keep their skin hydrated so that it doesn't get all dry and wrinkly. And so we smother them with lotion and put what we call a blanket over the sheep. It's kind of like a tight spandex, almost like a swimming suit that covers their whole body. And it just kind of keeps the moisture in so that their skin doesn't dry out. Therefore, they won't get wrinkly. We make these. We've got a serger, so we're lucky we're able to make our own blankets. We don't have to order them off the internet for a lot of money. And we're able to just sew them up and put these cute little outfits on our sheep. The livestock show is a great thing here in Logandale for our children. Great thing here in Clark County, here in Nevada, that kids can learn very valuable, lasting lessons through these livestock show projects. At the show, the kids will have the opportunity to display their animal in a class with other lambs, and the judge, who is a national judge, will place the animals on their quality. And you want your lamb to look the best because there are big prizes in store. You're in the newspaper. You can expect a lot higher price for your animal at the sale if you do better. And so kids are very competitive. Having a good quality lamb is very important, but it's only a third of it. Because showmanship, you can take a great lamb and have a bad showman that's not doing a good job presenting their animal, and they can get far down in the class. Or you can take a lamb that's maybe not as good quality with a super showman, can really show the best parts of that animal and can be put way towards the front. And another very important thing is feeding. It's a 1/3 feeding, 1/3 showmanship, 1/3 quality. I mean, really it comes down to what the judge feels that day. But if you don't have all three of those, if you don't know what you're doing when you're feeding an animal, it could turn out to be too fat or too thin. The judge wants them just right. You really got to know your stuff on feeding, showmanship, and quality. Raising sheep has helped my family learn about life. There are births and there are deaths, just like in every life cycle. Sheep don't live long. Hummer, our champion ram, lived a good long life of 8 years. It saddened our whole family when he died one night. We buried him in the pasture and celebrated his life and acknowledged that death is a part of life. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, or at the end of your life, it all is summed up. How you lived your life, what you did with the time you were here, the service that you provided to others, is what it all comes down to. Heavenly Father sent His Son, our shepherd, to teach us, to be an example to us, to show us what we needed to do while we're here on this short time on this earth. And if we can follow His example and serve others and do our best and realize that there is a big picture and we need to be doing what the Savior showed us as His example. And if we can do that at the end of the day, at the end of our life, we can go back and live with our shepherd, and He can wrap His arms around us, and He will be pleased that we have lived the life we've lived and not wasted our time while we're here. I'm just looking forward to that day. I don't want it to be today. I got a lot to do, and hopefully I'm 90 years old. I'm just thankful for that knowledge.